Here we are, right at the beginning. Hi, my name is Maya. Maya Nicole is like what I usually say for artist purposes. It is my name though. My name is actually Maya Nicole blank blank. But I think today I really just wanna flow. Like, I don't want to think too hard about my end goal or like what the impact of my words are going to have or how they're going to be perceived when I release them. I just want to do and take inspired action, not just action, but inspired action. Lately I've been having just so many moments that feel so surreal. They feel like God. Like, I feel like I have been having full encounters with God. And more so from like a faith standpoint than anything else. Like, having the awareness, like, yes, God is real. Yes, there is someone like divinely guiding my steps, right? But then there's another thing about believing in something that you cannot see, you know? And having the opportunity to encounter God in real life can literally bring me to tears. And I'm not like a religious person, you know. I find truth in many things and many beliefs and religions and practices and science and all of that stuff, you know. Like, I definitely think there's value in keeping an open mind to a lot of different things. But the best way for me to put it is it's God. It's God. Like, I am someone who needs a faith system in order to maneuver. And I've really come to like grasp with that, grasp, whatever you want to say. I've really been thinking about my life over the last like 3 years. It's so crazy how time, that's okay, I'll wait. But for the last 3 years where I have been actively noticing the differences between when I am relying on my faith versus when I'm not. Let's just put it that way. And my faith in God, I think, is a direct reflection of how much faith I have in myself. And so the fluctuations that I experience, I think, are very human. They allow me to be human. But at the same time, like, there's something I wrote the other day. And I had just woken up. excuse me. And I had a really crazy dream. Um, and like my dreams are always crazy. Like I'm always like, if you know me, like I'm always gonna talk about my dreams, like a dream that I had or something that was crazy in my dream or whatever. So I was doing my like dream journal, right? So this was like this night. This was October 22nd, 5:18 a.m. And I be up like before. Excuse me. Maybe it's moving a lot. Hold on. Let's do a mic check. Okay, you're back. Um, yeah, so back with this, right? 5:18 a.m. I be up in the morning. I'll be up. So at the end of it, I said, life is full of moments where people show you their heart and intentions, and you just have to move with that. There is no greater disrespect than playing a fool when you're not. Don't let your desire to be liked mislead you into being a fool, doormat, or anything lower than where you are meant to be. Some people will play themselves out of position, and you simply must let them. It's you going to the top, but you must allow it to happen. Without the assistance of other men, you don't need them or it. God is truly with you and will not lead you into a situation you cannot get out of. You don't need to be bailed out. You need to be faithfully locked in. Faithfully locked into it all. 5:18 in the morning, spitting fucking bars. Like, um, but it's still so true. Like, for me, Maya, I need to have a faith system installed and instilled into my movements. Like, I have my better days when I start off my day with a sermon. I don't, just being able to have some of my woes and worries like spoken life into, spoken life over, whatever, like a new perspective, a new way to correlate information that I'm processing, the other parts of my life, seeing how things like work together and play together. Like that's really, really pivotal in me because I think so much of what I do is I deal with the unseen. That was confirmation. I deal with the unseen. I work with energy. I work with feelings and emotions and things that you do not always see. I walk into rooms and I walk around them. I hit all the corners of a room just so I can feel what's happening in the spaces that I enter. And what's really hitting me in this present moment is just how much like my world really is dictated by the unseen, and like my art and me as an artist and a visionary and a creative and a alchemist, you know, it's really rooted in the unseen. And it makes me feel so emotional because the unseen is also a part of God. And that's why, for me, being able to feel connected to something bigger than myself is important. And I don't have any shame in that. I no longer feel shame for that. There were times where I definitely did feel shameful and I felt confused, or I felt like, what the fuck? But like, how many times have I said like so far? But for this state of my life and the transitions that I feel like I'm currently experiencing, like faith, having faith is the only thing that's keeping me en route, in motion. Because there are days where I think about just giving it all up and then not doing anything that I'm doing now. And I hate that. I fucking hate that. I question. I hate that. I go back and forth. And sometimes I feel like just so confused and misguided. Because as much as my life does deal with the unseen, like there still are so many parts, like, ugh, so many parts that are still like going and in the physical world. I don't know how to express that, but the duality, the balance, the balancing act of life is key as well in having a faithful experience. Check in. Are we clear, right? That when I say faithful, that I'm talking about the dealings of life with the unseen and connecting that to my relationship with God and more importantly, my relationship with self and how they are reflections of each other. Because that is what I'm doing. I forgot what I was saying before that. I have my ginger tea and my the natural Dave. Dev Dave. Oh shit. Shouting out though, it's cool. Shout out to Big Empress. Shout out to the ethereal Empress. The poet. Another alchemist. And you know what makes me think, like, the power, oh my god, the power of the unseen when it comes to relationships and connection to other people. Like, that has been such an important focus for me in this last I don't know if I want to say a month, I want to say a year, like just time in my experience, and especially lately, like even the course of my last few days, like I have been meeting people and having the most random situations like happen that my gut is just like, just go, like, investigate this, like, build up your experiences. You are safe in these environments, still explore them. Some people say like that's probably dumb, like that's not smart, that's how you end up in dangerous situations, shit's always happened to people. Yes, that's true. um but I just think there's a certain aspect about the spontaneity of life that we must leap with. Like, consider me the fool card. I'm Aries though, so I'm an Aries through and through. I'm a Aries. Um, but yeah, like our relationship with people are one of the biggest like proofs of concept. I tweeted this the other day. Hold on. Like I just be saying shit. It be coming from the heart though. It be coming from the heart. Like I don't even be thinking about it. I'll just be like, yeah, I gotta put this out there. Our relationship with people and just the impact of that, right? Like, it was last night. 10:23, 8:37 p.m. The collective consciousness, dot 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 dot, really the closest thing to proof of God. Like when you come into somebody's life, when somebody comes into your life and they are this messenger and like this vessel of knowledge and information and reflections and insight and love and disdain and hate and envy and jealousy, like all of these different things like that exist within us, right? And then like other people just come into our ether bubble and they just start hitting and pitting on different points that they're meant to, do. And we get so caught up in, oh my God, like especially right now, I feel like it's probably bigger than ever, but like it's just only able to be perceived in one way. One way, one outcome, one, and this is it. And I think that we are just doing ourselves such a disservice. And I have instances where I can look and say like I was doing the same thing, like meeting someone and feeling like they were just representation of all this goodness, and if I couldn't have them in a romantic essence, and it just didn't even make sense for us to be intertwined. And we stop ourselves from really being able to experience the healing and the transformations that come from not romance but relationship. And relationship is not purely romantic, reserved for romance. People can love you and be your soulmate and be your guide and be your mentor and be a friend and be a fucking friend, because that's truly what we need. We look for this love and we yearn for this love and this raw vulnerability, shared vulnerability. And then we clam up and then we reject it and we forget that, the dualities of life exist and the dualities of humans exist. If I could, I don't, I was going to say if I could do it over again, I would, but I would not, because I would be I am now more than okay with accepting love in its true form, or defining what that looks like for me now, rather than being stuck to everything having to be one way. I'm not being rigid. I want to flow. So let's flow. And I think just as much as people are proofs of God and reflections of this faith and of us and everything like that, I do find myself to be completely overwhelmed by the pressure of engaging and sustaining relationships and conversation and connection. And it's been like that for some time now. I never really wanted to look at it as a problem, although people were having problems with it and are still like, our relationships are still being like impacted by it. I don't know. I just think like I've been needing my time. I've been needing my time, and people, I guess there's a way you're supposed to show up in the world, and there's a way you're supposed to let people know that you care about them and that you think highly of them, and you this and it's that and it's this and it's that. But sometimes that it's a lot. Like, it's a lot. And especially for me, like when I think about just like the trauma I have that comes from relationships and like friendships and stuff like that, where things did not play out well, it's just kind of like, ugh. Like, I think I've come into a space where not only is it a lot for me now, but it's, I guess it's like a PTSD type of response. Like, I just don't necessarily feel comfortable like showing up in certain spaces in ways that I may have at one point, like. And I think that there needs to come I think that there needs to come a change of heart in how I allow my past to impact my current, my present, and my future, you know, while still being able to be present and be engaged and be interacting, while also still getting the time that I need to rejuvenate and take for myself and da da da. In the same breath, I also would love to see myself in more alignment with people who honor that, who honor my ebbs and flows, and can can separate some of the emotions from the reality, as I am working to do that more for myself. And if I continue to get closer with my faith-based system, I find, not if, well, as I continue to strengthen my faith-based system, it allows me to connect from a more pure heart center rather than a jaded heart center. Everybody's so fucking jaded. Jaded, jaded, jaded. Might as well have a jade necklace. Like, everybody is so jaded, but we wear jade for what? Your heart chakra. So, it just kind of hit me like how, like, all of these instances do feel like heart chakra activations. Like, these experiences with people where I feel like I am being brought to tears because I feel like, yo, God is so real. Like, that is a heart chakra. That is an emotional response. That is a feeling of love and warmth and dealing with the unseen and the emotional self. Wow. Did you even know it was a heart chakra activation? That might be what I want to title it. A lot of things may seem unpleasant, and they might seem like a heavy, heavy, heavy consequence. Consequence that is too large for us to bear and too large for us to be able to navigate how to get to the other side. And a lot of us are being tricked out of our spots. A lot of us are being tricked out of position because we're leaning into our emotions and into the unseen, and from a space of fear and from a space of confusion and desperation and a lack of self-love. My art practice is in a very delicate space right now, because my art practice is requiring me to be someone different than who I have been thus far. And I have been having a really hard time with how do I get to the other side of this without feeling like I want to give up again. Because we give up over and over and over again in many different ways. But when those things compound interest and it's time for you to pay the bill, I find myself to be completely overwhelmed with the dualities of life. But I'm in a season of restoring balance to everything that I touch. We don't get to decide how we learn the lesson, we just get to decide to participate. And one of the biggest things I've learned in this faith walk is that no matter what, like, we always have the opportunity to exercise our free will. So everything could be laid out in front of you and you will still choose the wrong thing. Or you'll choose the right thing. And by the time you get to bearing the fruit of whatever choice you made, you'll realize that there was never a right or wrong decision. Because we all make choices. And we'll continue to do so.